Okay. All right. So let's begin. Thank you for being here. How we should be tonight is that so the conversations that we're going to be having is the conversation we have with teenagers and adults at the camp. Mm-hmm. But this is also a conversation for you. So so interact and ask questions. The more we practice, and if something doesn't make sense, ask questions. So it helps train me as a facilitator to, if something's not clear, we just keep working through it, and that shows up on the training. Okay? So you'd be looking from this is how will apply, how it would apply to you. Okay? All right, so let's begin. So let's talk about a sports game. Let's talk about basketball. How many of you are familiar with basketball? Familiar with basketball? Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you. So let's name all the roles that come to a basketball game. So shout out all the roles are all the people. Who comes to a basketball game?
The basketball players.
Players,
Michael
thank
Jordan.
You.
The fans.
The fans.
The family.
The family.
The Warriors.
Yes, thank you.
Coach.
The press.
The press, yeah. Coach. Okay.
Did you say the fans?
Yeah, fans. Fans is up there.
The cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders.
Referees.
Referees.
The hot dog vendor guy.
The vendors.
My favorite guy.
The different vendors.
So, thank you. Anything else?
The cameraman.
Cameraman.
The ushers.
Ushers.
The sports doctor.
Sports doctor. Thank you.
The announcers.
Announcers. Anyone else?
The janitors.
Janitors.
Not that soon. I say not that soon.
Not that soon. They come at the end of the game.
Oh, they might. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything else? Anybody else that shows the basketball game? Great. So let's take a look at this list and who is essential to have a basketball game? In the list that we created, who's essential that you have to have in order to have a basketball game?
The players.
Players?
The players.
Two teams, two players, the players.
The two teams.
Two teams? Players? Okay.
If you're talking about a game, if you're talking about practice, you need two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Or just the game. I thought everybody said, what? No.
Okay. Who else do you need? Who's absolutely essential to have
The referee.
the referee? Mm-hmm. Excellent.
The coach. The coach is there.
And the coach. Great. So let's just focus on those three. Those three are essential to have a basketball game.
Two coaches, two teams, and the floor to play on.
So for these essential roles, we have the players, the coach, and the referee. So we want to take a look, what is the job of each of those roles? How do they get the job done? And where do they get the job done? So as players, what's the job of the player?
To play the best possibility.
To play their best of the possibility?
Ability,
Mhm.
not a possibility, ability.
Play the best of their ability, yeah. What's the job of the player?
To
What else is
win.
there? To win. To play their best of their ability and to win? Mm-hmm. And how do they get the job done?
Being a good players,
Beat the other team, that's it.
Get more points
Working.
than the other team.
Working together.
Mm-hmm. How else do they get the job done?
Teamwork.
Teamwork?
Communicating.
And communicating? Mm-hmm.
Scoring points.
And scoring points? Yeah. And where do they get the job done?
On the court.
On the court. Exactly right. On the court. Okay. What about the coaches? What's the job of the coach?
I didn't see that.
Direct them.
So to direct them, that's how they. The job is to. So what's the job of the coach? To direct them. What else?
and be alert, whatever they're doing.
So to be alert.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're okay or.
To tell them the strategy.
Tell them the strategy. Mm-hmm. So everything you're saying is accurate. It's in there. What is the ultimate job of the coach? Do they? Yeah. What's the ultimate job of the coach?
To influence the players to do their utmost best.
Yep. Exactly right. To have the players play their best so that they can win. Okay. Well said. Okay. And how do they get the job done?
How does who get the job done?
The coach. How does the coach get the job done? How do they get the players to play the best?
Communication.
To win? Communication?
Communication.
Anything else? How else do they get the job done? How does the coach get the job done with the players?
Be
Or-
alert, whatever they're doing.
Be alert. Mm-hmm. And where does the coach get the job done at?
To the bench.
On the bench.
Usually they're not sitting up.
No, usually stand.
Where are they standing?
And then they're usually standing all around the players.
On the sidelines.
Side, there you go, that's more accurate.
The bench or the sidelines. Yep. So the referee. What is the job of the referee?
To be fair
To be fair.
and accurate.
Impartial.
And what is the referee trying to accomplish?
An honest game.
Say,
An honest game.
to have an honest game. Well said. To have an honest game. And how does the referee get the job done?
By imposing rules.
How else does the referee get the job done? What else is there?
He blows the whistle.
He'll blow the whistle,
Watches closely.
watches closely.
Sometimes he get angry.
Yeah,
The referee will take.
yeah.
Calling the shots.
We'll call the shots. Mm-hmm. And where does the referee get the job done?
On the floor. Running up down the court.
Running up and down the court. Yep. So,
I didn't read that.
hold on. Now, we said earlier that the referee is impartial. So does the referee care which hoop the ball goes in?
No.
No. So the referee doesn't care which one. Does the coach care?
Mm-hmm.
Sure do.
Yep. Coach cares. Great. Is there an advantage to having a coach on the sidelines?
Yes.
Yes? And what is the advantage?
He encourages the players and
And guys
Yes,
don't
okay.
put- And coaches them.
And coaches them. Mm-hmm. What's another advantage of having a coach on the sidelines?
Are you asking why is it an advantage for the coach to be on the sidelines as opposed to on the court? Or what is the advantage to having a coach?
What's the advantage to having a coach?
To teach,
Mm-hmm.
Good to have
To
someone on your
guide.
side.
Because sometimes they can see something that you can't see for yourself.
Yeah. Everything you said is exactly right. Yep. So that the coach can see something that the players can't see because they're on the sidelines and can see that and can give advice and give coach and give direction. Now, would the players go to the referee to to get advice on how to win?
No.
No. Because the referee is
impartial.
impartial. So using basketball as a metaphor in this program, so imagine if you're in the Bright Futures program, you're teenagers in the program. Who are you? What role are you in, out of these roles, which role are you in the program?
The player,
You're the player. And so who are the coaches?
your mentors,
The mentors? Mm-hmm. So in the game of school, who are you?
A student.
You're a student. Mm-hmm. So other roles, you're a student in school. Which are the roles? Player, coach, or referee when you're in school?
Play.
Player. Mm-hmm. Well said. And so then who are the coaches in school?
the teachers.
Teachers? Mm-hmm. Anybody else that's a coach?
Counselors.
Counselors? Mm-hmm. And then who is the referee?
My mom,
Your mom. So say more about that. How's your mom the?
because she'll beat my butt if I don't get good grades.
She'll beat your butt if you don't get good grades. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So does the referee care who wins the game?
In that case, it puts.
In that case, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is your mom the referee?
Could be.
I don't know, I'm confused.
Okay.
She makes the rules though.
So she makes the rules. Okay. But if your mom cares, can she be the referee?
Not a good one.
No, not a good one. So if your mom cares if you win.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's consider if is the mom a player?
No,
She's a coach.
Okay. So could your mom be a coach?
I guess so.
Guess so. Okay. Say more. How could your mom be like a coach? Do coaches sometimes make rules?
I don't think they make the rules of the game, but they make the rules on
They follow.
how you're supposed to play or what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
The coaches, gonna put it in that metaphor that he's talking about, the coaches can't make rules. You guys go to bed at a certain time, you guys go to practice at a certain time.
Yeah.
So they
You
make
got a day off,
so the coaches make the rules of like the practice, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, they can make the rules of the practice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So which one is your mom? Which role is your mom?
Coach.
She's a coach. Great. Thank you.
Now, let's get back to the referee type of thing.
Okay. So who's the referee?
There is no referee there, the counselor could be because everybody cares what happens to you in that environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no one there to say it. No, you did right or you did wrong, no one can say anything.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
There is no referee there.
great. Great, thank you. Yes. So now let's look at this in your life. So who are you in the game of life?
I'm a referee, I'm a coach, and I'm a player.
Okay, so say more about that. So how are you like a player?
Okay, I moved and I respect my wife and she coaches me. Certain things, my daughter coaches me at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a player there.
Yes.
I'm a coach, I tell them, I ask them, I guide them. I guide my wife, I guide my daughters, I guide my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a coach there. And I'm a referee, but I do care of what happens to them in my environment.
Mm-hmm. So in the game of your life, which role are you of these?
I'm
over
a
here?
player and a coach.
Okay, so say more about a coach. Are you a coach to yourself?
A coach to myself, yeah.
Okay, so say more about how are you a coach to yourself?
I coach myself to think of the future and the way that I'm gonna act or react to certain situations.
Great. So in this example, where does the player play?
The player plays in the environment with every single one of the family and every single one that are all the people I know.
And so where does the coach play?
Uh-huh. The coach plays the guidance, the guide, the person that guides the players. Huh?
Make him struggle, don't give him the answer.
What's that?
You're doing great. So Mr. Salgado, so where does it? So you said that you're a coach.
Yeah.
So you're a coach to your
My
wife
my-
and your dad.
Yeah,
So what role would they be then? If you're the coach, then they would be
player.
they'd be the player in their life. You'd be the
Right,
coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
So
certain situations.
yes, in certain situations. So now in your life, you said that you're a coach to yourself. So let's use the game of basketball. If the basketball you're playing in your life, where does the coach play in basketball? Can the coach go on the court?
No.
Okay. So say how you're like a coach. Are you on the sidelines of your life?
No, I'm inside the guy.
So you're a player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In certain situations.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yes.
I'm a certain situations, I'm not permanently a coach. You know,
Okay.
permanently
So
I'm-
give some examples of when you're being a coach
When I
in your life. When do you coach your player?
My player?
Yeah.
How I coach my player?
Yes.
Within my life?
Yes.
By reminding myself that I'm a player in life, and that I think and I respect whatever that says, what I say to myself. It's how I guide my life. That's
Okay.
the way I coach myself.
Yeah. So that's how you coach yourself. Are you ever on the sidelines of your life?
No.
Okay. So there's another distinction there called later we'll call observer, that where you're at is looking from your observer perspective, looking at how you played the game. So you'll reflect on how you played the game. But when the game's being played, can you be a player and be a coach?
No.
Okay, so most of the time you're going to be the
Coach.
in your life,
The player.
the player. So for your life, so who are coaches in your life?
My wife, my daughters.
So-
Counsel me sometimes.
It's a family.
Yeah, family. Family could be good. Yeah, well said. So in the game of life, what is the referee?
The police.
Police. Mm-hmm.
I would say God.
God? Mm-hmm.
And the one who control everything.
The one who controls everything? Mm-hmm.
A judge.
A judge? Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at that. So, a judge. Does a referee, is a judge impartial, or does a judge care if you win in your life?
No.
So do human beings care about other human beings?
Sometimes,
Sometimes they do?
like to be
Mhm.
honest.
That's debatable.
Not always.
Not always.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, what is the referee in the game of life?
Who or what?
Not who, what is the referee? So let's take a look at the referee. Does the referee is impartial? That when the game is being played,
Get the rules.
they don't, they're just there. So what's the job of the referee?
It's to be impartial and to follow the rules of the game.
To just make sure that the rules of the game are followed. That's it. So they have no preference.
Not in control, no?
No.
So they're not in control. They're not in control of the game.
Mhm. Okay.
So what in your life isn't that is a referee?
Physics.
So physics, yeah, physics might be. So let me give you a clue. So I'm going to ask you some questions. These aren't trick questions. What is an aluminum can made out of?
If I could pronounce it, I would say it. Aluminum.
Aluminum, yes. What is the color of George Washington's white horse?
Pink.
So what is the color of George Washington's white horse?
White.
White. Who's buried in Grant's tomb? Grant, thank you. And what is an aluminum can made out of?
An aluminum can.
It's made out of aluminum can. So what is the referee in your life? So can you see that the answer to the questions that I asked were in the question? So what is an aluminum can made out of?
Referee.
Aluminum. So what is the referee of your life?
My life.
Your life. Your life is the referee. Is your life partial to which way you go?
No. Impartial.
Life just keeps going on and on and on, regardless of how you play the game. Okay? Okay, so earlier we talked about, so how many teams are on the basketball court?
2.
There's 2 teams. Well said. Okay, so let's label these teams. So if this is a basketball court, so what are the names of the 2 teams that come to play basketball? Exactly right. The home and the away team. So you have a home and an away team. What is the difference between the 2 teams?
One is from home and one is from away.
Mm-hmm.
One's gonna lose, one's gonna win.
One's going to lose and one's going to win. Yeah, thank you. What's the difference between the 2 teams?
They're uniforms.
Their uniforms? What else is different between the 2 teams?
Different coaches.
Different coaches? Mm-hmm.
Different players.
Different players,
Different ways?
could be different race. What's the job of the players?
To win.
To win. So what's the job of the home players?
What's your objective? The objective is to win.
To win. And so then what's the objective of the away team? To win.
To win.
To win. So so it sounds like those are the same thing. So what's the difference between the two? What differentiates, how does a referee tell who's winning?
That whoever's scoring the most points.
Whoever scores the most. So how does the away team score?
By outplaying the other team.
By outplaying the other team? And where do they score at?
The opposite basket.
It's the opposite basket. So there's a basket for the away team, and there's a basket for the home team. So in Bright Futures, we call that goals. Your home team has, each of the teams have separate goals.
Okay.
So to the home team, what do they call the away team? What do the players on the home team call the away team? What's another name for calling the other team?
I guess it would be the enemy.
The enemy? Okay. What's another name for it? Thank you. What's another name for it? What are all the names that they would call the other? They might use to describe the other team. So the enemy, what's another name for an enemy?
I'm not gonna Google it.
Google it. Yeah.
Google it.
So what's the name for the other opposing team? It might be called the opponent.
Yeah, on the opponent.
The opponent?
Yeah,
So for this program, we're going to use the word opponent. So the away team, we're going to call it the opponent. So in your life, in using this metaphor, how does this apply to your life? So if you're the players, who's your opponent?
Life.
Life? What else? Thank you.
The environment.
Leslie? The environment? Mm-hmm. Well, in your life, right now, what stops you from winning?
My boss.
Your boss?
Trump.
Donald Trump? Yeah?
The naysayers.
The naysayers?
The haters.
The haters?
The crazy people?
Crazy people? Mm-hmm. Who stops you from showing up to work on time?
The traffic.
Traffic? Okay, traffic. When you're taking a test, who stops you from getting a good grade on the test?
Yourself.
So say more about that.
Yeah, well, because, you haven't studied enough, you haven't gone to school enough. You haven't dedicated too much time to your study.
Mm-hmm. So in related to work, what stops you from having the experience you want at work? Who's your opponent? Yourself. So let's talk more about that. So if you're the player and you're the opponent, and you're playing a game, what's the job of the player? To win. And what's the job of the opponent?
Will stop you.
To stop the player from winning, but their job is, if they stop the player from winning, what do?
They win.
They win. So the job of the player is to win, and the job of the opponent is to win. So can you see that whether you're the player or whether you're the opponent, that you're winning? You're winning the game of life. So what's the difference between the two?
Because you're seeing the obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
The obstacles are the ones stopping you from succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
There's many factors in life that make it difficult to achieve your goals,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you're planning. That's what you're planning right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what is the difference between the player and the opponent?
The opponent is trying to stop you from succeeding,
Mm-hmm.
and you are trying to overcome those obstacles.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to overcome those obstacles. If the player succeeds, does the player win?
It all depends what player you're talking about. If you're talking about a player that's trying to stop you, if you succeed, then you're stopping the other person from succeeding.
Okay. So in the game of life, where you're the player and you're the opponent, where do you stop yourself from succeeding?
The point you don't have any goals to reach. You don't set your goals,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't try to accomplish them.
So, well said. Exactly right. So that the player is trying to achieve a goal, right? And in this example, the players in basketball, the player's trying to put the ball in this hoop. And what's the job of the opponent?
Just stop it.
To stop them from doing that. But the opponent also might be trying to put the ball in this hoop.
Yeah, they're trying to succeed.
Okay?
And the saying goes, sometimes you're your worst enemy.
Exactly right. So sometimes your worst enemy. So if the player is playing the game in basketball and they put the ball at this hoop, we determine that because you're the player and you're the opponent, that you're always winning. You're always winning the game.
Either way.
You're winning either way. But there's a difference. The difference we call that if you're coming over here and you're putting the ball in this hoop, or if you're going after your goals and you're making motion on your goals, we call that winning at winning. And if you're taking actions that are not in line with that goal, if your opponent's playing, that's called winning at losing. Exactly right. So if you're winning at winning or winning at losing, how do you know the difference when you're the player or the opponent?